Alright, so I'm actually going to go back, because remember this is actually a parametric design, so in any case we can always sort of go back, which is the point of this whole thing. You can always go back and actually modify something. So I want to change the distance in the, let's turn this off, so this is this way. I'm going to modify this distance to make it less, not less but more, just so we can actually see a little better. That's a lot better. We'll increase the distance as well. We don't need this much. Much better. A little more. So now these are all sort of planar surfaces, you know. They have no thickness. We're not taking into consideration any thickness. So what I'm going to do now is actually go back here and actually start making this into a thicker surface, which is going to be the same sort of concept now. Nothing is really changing much from what we sort of initially started with just lofting and moving. So imagine I have this surface here. I'm going to select it, the green surface, which is loft. What you're going to do first is actually move it and then loft it again. So I'm going to move this geometry, and again the direction, so up and down direction, which is the Z direction, and then the distance would be okay, just 1.000 sort of thing going, and just further plug that in and just lower that. So you can actually look up, I'm not extremely positive, you can actually go online very quickly and check sort of feet to inches. You can calculate it just to make sure that this distance is accurate. I'm going to go really quickly. So feet to inches. And maybe you want to have ½ inch is equal to 0.41 of feet, so we can change that to 0.41 feet. Interesting. Yeah, so 0.41. I don't think 0.41 is actually what is it? Yeah, 0.41, so I put that wrong. 0.041. Okay, much better. Right, so we have this sort of thickness of a ½ inch thick. In any case we figure out that maybe we find out in the future that we don't have a ½ inch thick. We don't have ½ inch thick plywood, so we can actually change that to a ½ inch, or 3/4, not a quarter, but about 3/4. And you can modify it always anywhere here. This modification will be the thickness here. So this creates that. We also want to sort of loft these two surfaces to create the surface in between. So I'm going to loft this geometry with this initial geometry by holding hold shift. Kind of forgot to tell you guys that, so I have to hold shift in order to plug in two nodes into one. So I'm going to hold shift to plug that in, and it creates this surface. This surface here. It's important to loft it in this case and not extrude it. Change the quality really quick. So it's important to loft it and not extrude it because it will make this exact curvature loft to that one. If you extrude it, it might be off, but theoretically it shouldn't be off. But just in general, lofting is sort of a lot better. So now we have this loft, I'm going to just group it. We have this move. So I'm just clicking on, just right clicking anywhere and just grouping it, just double clicking, so the circle. And we have this initial loft. Right click, group, double click. So we have 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, which creates one sort of, one sort of wood piece. Alright, so I'm actually going to merge these to create one poly surface. So merge, and you can always plug things in, it will sort of add by itself. You don't need to, I actually don't need to do that. So you plug something into the merge, right? So this would be D1, and I'll plug this into D2. It will add D3. So it's adding more space for you to merge things in. This will be D3. So now this merge it's composed of all of these things, so I can actually hide these. There's no need for me to see them anymore. And actually hiding things makes Grasshopper move a bit faster, slightly. So I want to actually do the same thing again for this one, but this time the direction will be different. So I'm actually gonna, for a second, just hide this so you won't get confused. So I can actually do the same thing where I'm sort of take this loft and move it first. So move, plug in this as a geometry to move. Direction will be in the X direction. And then we're going to sort of create the same factor. Well, in this case, we can actually just sort of plug that in here to work the same thing. Right, because they're going to be the same. We're not going to have different sizes of materials for this one going this way, unless it's like a structural reason, which you can always go back and just separate them and modify it. So we have the move geometry. The next thing to do is actually loft. Plug in the move geometry as well as the initial loft. So I'm holding shift again, sorry. Now I have this move, the loft, and the move, and the loft, and the initial loft. So I can merge these again, and merge these separately. You can actually add the merge, but I'm going to merge them separately. This move, and the initial loft. And I'm actually going to just hide these. So I just have this merge. So I have now these two merges. I can preview this. And one thing that's really interesting and kind of cool about merging things is that now it sees it as just one thing. And I can do a join brep, or brep join, and plug in this, and also plug in this. And I'm going to just sort of take these out of Grasshopper now, like this. So I'm actually going to take this, I'm going to select these and just right, and you can right click, bake, and put them in the correct layer, which would be the right thing to do. But for now, I'm just going to just bake them really quickly by just test baking. I'm going to actually delete them after I'm done. And now I'm going to close Grasshopper just so it goes away. And I have these surfaces. It's a poly surface. I can select any one of them, and I have this poly surface here. So that's kind of cool to have. Yeah, and I can just delete this, and I'm back Grasshopper. One thing you can also do to sort of help you with visibility settings, I'm actually going to group these. And also I'm going to make them invisible, non-visible. So one thing you can do for previewing, to make your previewing a lot better, is actually, if I double click here, type in preview, custom preview, So I have this custom preview here, which is just a preview. It just helps you preview things. The custom preview wants a geometry and also wants a swatch, which is like a shader, which is like a color. So I'm typing swatch, color swatch, and plug it into the shader, and I can actually modify this color to anything I want. Right now white is, it's fine. And plug in this, whatever this is outputting, into the geometry. So now I have this sort of, white preview, which could be better to see, depending. You can always go back and modify the color. Something that has more contrast, Like this. And then we're gonna copy this, plug in this geometry.